Hi everyone, and welcome to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the EVE Online market. I'm your host, delonewolf, and this episode is maybe a little special because it marks 1 year of EVE Talk. Now, at first, about a year ago, the EVE Talks were mostly about my trade runs in Dodixie, so not really about the JITA market or the market in general. But yeah, the first episode was 1 year ago, so basically this is the 1 year anniversary for EVE Talk. So let's take a seat on the couch and we'll have a look at the markets in a moment. Maybe just as usually a quick few updates in between. First of all, I subscribed for the closed beta of Elder Scrolls Online. If you guys want to subscribe for that, just go over to their website, Google Elder Scrolls Online, and you'll find it. I would of course never break the NDA, but I do want to take a look at that game as I'm a big Elder Scrolls fan, and then give you guys my opinions on that when it's possible. And the other MMO we're keeping an eye on is ArchH, which is supposed to be a sandbox MMO, and it has been announced that Trion Worlds is going to be the publisher for that for Europe and North America, so that's pretty awesome news. Both of these can be expected. Maybe we'll see Elder Scrolls Online this year and ArchH probably next year, but that's some very good news for us and stuff we've been keeping an eye on. Trion Worlds are the publishers for Rift and Lord of the Rings Online, I believe. So I think that's awesome news actually, and it's two things we're keeping an eye out for, and maybe you'll see some footage at some point of these two games. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to bring that. Anyways, we're here for the markets, so we'll start off with the minerals. Being a miner mostly myself, that's obviously something that's pretty important for me. And oh Jesus, a very bad data point. At what would that be, 50-60 million, something like that. It's not, no, it's well, it's gonna be close to 100 million, so that's pretty bad. You can't really see a lot on the chart, so let's have a look at the prices in JITA. Maybe that'll give us an idea. 597 for the sellers, 594 for the buyers. That's actually pretty much the same as last week, just below 6 ISK. Decently stable, I would say, for titanium over the last week, and really over the last, well, if we have a quick look at, well, that chart is really bad actually. And the 3-month chart is going to be really bad as well because of that, yeah, obviously. So yeah, that's a bit corrupt, not really showing the right stuff. But around 6 ISK, yeah, been pretty stable for quite a while now. Let's have a look at pyrite, maybe that'll tell us a bit more. Nope, again, bad looking chart there. Exact same thing, one bad point at 3000 ISK. Not sure what's going on with that. But sellers in station 1483, buyers 1469. I think that's pretty stable again, above 14 ISK, but still below 15. In between that band, it's probably been like that for quite a while. Although, if I'm not mistaken, pyrite did know a small uptick with the expansion. So it might be that it's been hovering around 14 ISK just between the summer and the expansion, and now it's up maybe half an ISK, something like that. Nothing to write home about. But for miners, if I'm not mistaken, Plagioclasse has lost a lot of its value, because yeah, even with such a bad data point, you can see that Mexalon has dropped down, and Scordite, I think it is, that yields a lot of pyrite, has actually taken my top pick for what I'm mostly mining at the moment over Plagioclasse, which yields Mexalon, but has dropped quite a lot in price. Let's have a look at what the prices are. Actually 51.05, 51.04, so yeah, 51 ISK. It came from 60 ISK, so that's actually a pretty serious drop of 9 to 10 ISK. Yeah, Mexalon is quite down quite a lot. And why the hell is there another corrupted data point on this one as well? The only thing I could find is maybe someone has locally manipulated the price quite a lot to like get rid of his bounty or something like that. Theoretically, although it would take quite a lot of effort, you could do that. Do some manipulate the prices with very high sell orders, maybe buy them as well on an alt, something like that. in a constellation where it's not traded at all, and then fill your ship with the stuff that's now priced quite a lot higher, and then get rid of your bounty that way. Something like that maybe. But why do it with minerals? I'm sure that there's a lot of easier ways to do it than with these low-end minerals, but alright. So not sure what's going on there, but it's too bad that the charts look terrible like this. Let's have a look at Sidereen, which has been requested by someone 2 weeks ago. It knew an uptick, which is pretty much before the expansion, and then now it's slowly been going down back below 800 ISK. So historically speaking, pretty flat actually. If you look at it for a whole year, it started off, what would that be, 750, 740 maybe, something like that, and now it's going to be just below 800. Yeah, 792 for the sellers in station 782. As you can see, again, no margin whatsoever, so it looks like supply and demand is quite stable and has found its price for minerals. Maybe have just a quick look at Isagen. Well, that's on a 1 year chart, that's pretty much doubled in price, more than doubled in price. I would say pretty much doubled in price, from maybe around 70 to just above 140. That's a bit surprising actually. Maybe demand for that has increased because of some of the new tier 3 ships or something like that. But again, you can see this spike around the expansion, and then now it's been correcting a little bit. That could be due to more activity, more new players giving mining a chance, thus bringing more minerals to the market. But still, over a 1 year period, Isagen has done quite well. If you've been able to buy it at like 70 ISK, you'd be sitting on a nice doubling of the value there. Let's have a look at Megasite, which is quite a lot rarer, of course. That one is actually down for the year. Again, starting at around October, you can see that uptick towards the expansion. Megasite is quite a lot rarer, thus quite a lot more easy to manipulate, and thus we see this rise a bit earlier. People wanted to get in on that before the expansion, but after the expansion you can see a correction back down again as well. A bit surprised that Megasite is down for the year, around 500 ISK on 2500, that's quite a lot. Nexium then maybe, that one's plus, what would that be, 60% on 1 year, from 500 to around 800. Not a bad chart, a big spike here. April last year, is that a summer expansion for some reason? Might just have been market manipulation, but again, especially around October when it was stable for a bit, a serious uptick towards the expansion, and now a very slow and gradual correction of that, but nothing too serious. So I would say it's still looking quite good for miners. Isagen would have been the trade of the year, obviously. All the other ones either stable or down a bit. So Tech 1 does feel rather stable. Let's have a look what that means for Tech 1 ships. Drake. The Drake, let's have a look. Dipping back down below 50 million. Yep, 49,753 and 48,400 for the buyers. So it's dipped back below 50 million. I guess that's due to the mineral prices. We've seen after the summer this gradual correction due to the expected nerf on heavy missiles, I think. Then again that uptick with the expansion. So a lot of people were expecting Tech 1 to be a lot more in demand, but it does look like some people might have miscalculated a bit, as all the Tech 1 stuff does seem to be going down after the expansion, and pretty much the same chart for the Maelstrom, which is a battleship, so a lot more minerals involved in there. So probably for that reason, if there's a lot of titanium, which has been quite stable, you'll not see as big a movement on larger ships. And but you can still see this uptrend towards the expansion, and then now a slow correction back down. So really, I would say around October, November would have been the time to buy on that Tech 1 stuff. and then just sell towards the expansion. I guess a lot of people were in there and did buy it at those higher prices, but right now Tech 1 doesn't seem to be the market where I would invest in, although the prices for miners, for the minerals, do seem decent to me. Let's have a look at Tech 2 stuff. The Guardian is the one that I have in my quick bar. Terrible chart again. Let's have a look at the prices though. The margin is always pretty interesting. 120.6, 127.9 in station. That's a 7 million ISK margin, just a bit above that. That's not bad. I think it's doubled again from last week. So although it's not as visible on the chart, there are still quite a lot of variations in Tech 2 markets. It just seems that one of the two prices, I'm thinking it's sell prices at around 127 to 128, are holding up and are staying a lot more stable than they were last year, but the buy orders are going up and down quite a lot more wildly. So you could still make some money on trades, I think, because you can expect to be able to sell them rather stably, but if you can then pick them up at 120, you can probably make some money still in the Tech 2 market. Let's have a quick look at the other logistic Tech 2 cruisers to get a feel of what's going on there. The Oneros was my pick last week, and last week it had a serious margin, I think around 10 million, maybe even a bit more, and that's closed down quite substantially. 133 for the sellers, 128 for the buyers, maybe 134. So that's just a 5 million, 6 million ISK margin that's left. That's pretty much halved. Let's have a look at that chart here. At least on the 5-day moving average, you can see these up and down swings that are typical for the Tech 2 market. And it looks like basically a weekly movement is going on at the moment. The Guardian has pretty much doubled and then halved its margin on a weekly basis, and as you can see here on the Oneros, pretty much the same. Let's have a look at the Basilisk. It's less pronounced over the expansion, but right now again the 5-day moving average took quite a drop, and you can see this typical wave for a Tech 2 product. And at the moment 123, 119, so just 4 million ISK margin. That's not a lot. I wouldn't go for Basilisk this week. Let's have a look at the Scimitar, 128, 124. That's not a lot either. But at least we're seeing this first wave again. This 5-day moving average went up substantially and then now is correcting back down below the 20-day moving average price, which is topping off again. So for this week, I don't know. Maybe the Oneros is... No, I wouldn't put money in the Oneros either. You know what I would do? I'd try to maybe pick up a couple Guardians at around 121, put them up for 127, something like that. Still a 6 million ISK margin. If you have the necessary skills, you should be able to make some money on that. But I would mostly wait it out for the current Tech 2 ships. The one I'm looking at a little bit is maybe the Basilisk, because of how sharp that 5-day moving average drop is. So we can expect the 20-day moving average to move down a bit as well, and thus the margins start to increase again, making it maybe trade worthy next week. We'll have to wait and see, but it's nice to see on some of the logistics at least to see the wave movement come back, because that does mean that you can make some trade money in these products. Moving on to Tech 3, we'll have a look at the melted Nano Ribbons, which knows some variations as well, but feels pretty stable on the 20-day moving average, holding on at 5.3 million, something like that, 4.8 for the buyers. So yeah, let's have a look at then the Loki maybe. Yeah, pretty much the same, pretty stable at the moment. And then the Tango chart could be interesting. That one is still going down for some reason. Might be the missile nerf. I'm not sure about that though. We do see that uptick and then now a downtrend. It's a bit, the Tango is a bit strange. It's a bit counter to both the Nano Ribbons and the Loki, which do seem to be holding up pretty decently in the Tech 3 market. Although on a 1-year chart they are down 50 million, from 250 to around 200. The Tango is down a lot, from 280 to 180. That's almost halved in price. That's actually pretty bad for Tango construction or manufacturers. And the melted Nano Ribbons is down significantly as well on the year, from 8 point something million to 5.5 million. So that's actually a serious drop as well. I do expect that this is because wormhole space is getting more and more populated, and production is getting more and more established. Thus the supply is quite stable and quite high, and you don't just buy Tech 3 ships like you buy some Tech 1 ships to lose in low sec. You know, it's people tend to lose a lot less of them. So this is a possible explanation why we are seeing on a 1 year basis a general deflation in the Tech 3 market. Although at the current time though, prices are holding up, I would say, since the expansion, which is better than what the Tech 1 market has been doing. Moving on to some of the more general and asked for products that I don't know that much about. Technetium, still nothing. There was a threat of a war between Test and CFC, but it seems that one's called off. That might have done some changes to Technetium, but yeah, without a war or without any CCP changes to how Technetium is being manufactured, I don't expect that to move at all. So yeah, just expect that to stay flat around 80k for now. Let's have a look at Galilean fuel blocks. That one's still stable as well, below 14k. Some small tops on the 5-day moving average, might have been some ice mining, ganking, something like that. But overall, as we all know as well, the post changes have been put on the back burner a little bit. We can expect those a bit later, so not for this summer expansion. And that does mean that I don't expect any serious movements in the Galilean fuel blocks either. And finally, we'll end up with the Plex, which let's see, still above 550, which is my bottom. Someone else called 500 as a bottom. Some data points below 550 though. I didn't see that before. That's interesting. So let's have a look at prices in Jita Station. 546, 700. That's the lowest it's been since the expansion, I have to be honest in that. 536 for the buyers. That's a bit surprising to me that it dipped below 500. So my theory was that after the expansion we'd quickly see a bottom and then it would slowly start to go back up towards the summer expansion. One of my viewers has a different opinion on that. He thinks it's going to continue to drop slowly towards the expansion, but once we get more announcements on the expansion, we'll start to see more interest and thus an uptick again. He's expecting it could go as low as 500 million. And well, it's dropped below 550, so it's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. You have to keep, of course, do your own homework on all of this and don't take my word as gospel. I did buy one Plex at 550. I do expect I'll be able to make some money on that at some point. But yep, obviously in Dodixie I could have probably bought one for below 540. So that's a 10 million difference. That's not nothing. Actually, and it's going to be interesting to see if indeed we'll see a gradual continued decline going below that 550 million point or not. But very interesting market, and personally I would not be afraid to buy some Plex even at the current prices. But yeah, I wouldn't put all my money in this, knowing now that we do see prices below 550. The other person might be correct, that the bottom might be a bit lower than what I'm expecting. Thus I would say dollar cost averaging is what you might want to do now. You know, if you have money at the end of the month, you've made enough to buy a Plex, why not invest that in a Plex and then just wait it out until the summer. I'm pretty sure you'll see 600 million by then, by the summer expansion. But don't put all your money in Plex at this point, expecting a large return out of that. You know, it's pretty obvious that you could pick up Plex below 550, and I should have waited maybe a week, but I don't think my investment at 550 is a bad one. But I wouldn't put all my eggs in that one, in the Plex basket at the moment. Just slowly spread it out towards the summer. Seems like a safe tactic to use, which I'm probably going to do as I make more ISK over the next months, and I have enough to buy a Plex. I'll probably just put in a buy order, pick up my next Plex, and then see if I can't unload them at around 600 or above 600 million ISK, something like that. So those are my plans for the Plex market. And that was it for this EVE talk. See you all next time.